Dauntless is a co-op action RPG monster hunting game developed by Phoenix Labs. The game is still in development and in its current state is in free-to-play open beta. In Dauntless, you play in a fictional place called Shattered Isle. The world is divided into several areas, Ramsgate being the central hub, the city where you pick up quests, concoct your potions, and the other areas in the game are the Sheltered Frontier, the Monster's Verge, the Yonder Keys, the Uncharted Reaches, and finally, the Maelstrom. The first thing that you will notice in the game is the fact that it's all about behemoth, as they call it here in the game, or monster hunting and slaying. Yes, monster hunting. As in Monster Hunter, I mean these behemoths are monsters that you hunt and slay for gear, glory, and bragging rights. Off the bat, you might think to yourself, this is just a cheap knockoff of Monster Hunter World. And, well, in a way, I guess you probably are right, but the game is highly enjoyable in its own. I've played this game since the start of June 2018, and after a friend suggested I try it out, and have not stopped playing it since. Yes, I have to admit, it's far from being perfect, and according to the people I've played with and have spoken to, most of them have had Monster Hunter experience. The game does a decent job with what it currently has. And what does this game have to offer? Well, tons of monsters, or rather behemoth slaying fun. Right? Let's stay away from the word monsters first. So let's get things rolling with an introduction to the different types of weapons you can use in the game. You get your initial selection from 3 different weapons readily available to you: chain blades, the sword, and the hammer. As you progress in the game and in your skill as a weaponsmith, you get to unlock the axe and also the war pike. Now these weapons have different characteristics like slashing, wounding, piercing, and blunts, which of course do stagger damage or stun. Not to mention that a couple of these weapons also have built-in alt modes that enable the players to shoot generated energy or projectiles to the monsters, like a shotgun of some sort. So your behemoth hunting party can have different combinations of weapons that are available, and also the armor. I personally prefer using the sword since it's the easiest weapon to master, and also because of how responsive the sword is. When you click the left button of your mouse, the sword just goes into action. The axe and the hammer are slightly slower, but are also highly effective at what they do. Incredible amounts of damage for the axe, and the hammer does a good job of stunning. And if you feel like, you feel flashy, then there's the war pike for you, which is a sort of support weapon. It's a weapon that will increase the damage done by other players when you use it. It actually wounds the behemoth, so attacking the wounded part equals more damage for the group. And not to mention the war pike, sorry about that, does this wushu exhibition moves that are really fun to watch, but if you're not used to it, can also be a pain. Now as you progress in the game, you get schematics to craft your weapons and your armor that have elemental charges. Yes, not all weapons and armors are neutral. Some of them have blaze, frost, shock, umbral, and radiant charges. There are also a couple called exotics, weapons and armor, which are, well, outside of looking good, they perform, special traits, like can resurrect you and such, those things. Well, now, off to the monsters, or rather, sorry about that, behemoths. There are several behemoth types or kinds that you will slay in your adventure through Dauntless. You have your neutral, meaning no elemental affinity behemoths, such as the Gnasher, Shrike, Quillshot, and Skarn. Then there are also your elemental behemoths like Embermane, Bangar, Hellion, and Neizaga. The first few beginner levels having only neutral behemoths, and you will only encounter your first elemental behemoths once you're done with your first area or your first isle. Now, these monsters you encounter will give an elemental affinity later on in the game as you get to higher levels, but that does not mean the encounter stays the same. Yes, your basic strategy will probably remain the same, but the overall mechanic of the battle will change, because this behemoths that you now re-encountered with elemental affinities will have special abilities or attacks that you have not encountered during your first battle with them. In this example, you'll see that I'm slaying, or I'm attempting to kill, Quillshot. And on the second example, you see Neizaga. Looks kind of the same as Quillshot. You know, they both have the spikes fly around and such. But Quillshot spikes, they are not like Neizaga's that have electrical or shock charges that fire on you. Those little differences. But you'd be surprised to know that those additional moves, powers, or abilities are not just the factors that will make the fights extremely difficult. What makes the fights difficult and harder and Dauntless is actually your party, the guys you're playing with. Yes, you heard me correctly. The other people in your group. The ones that you're playing with are also the ones that will make the fight either super hard or super easy. This is because of the scaling that happens in the game. The general HP of the behemoths you're facing, though, will not be represented by any health bar or numbers on the screen. They scale depending on the number of people you have in your party, so fighting a behemoth alone would be easier if you know what you're doing than fighting it with a group of, say, 4 people and you're the only one who knows how to fight it. It gets hard. Extremely hard. And long. The longer a fight goes, the harder it gets. Now, like what I said, somewhere in the beginning of the video, the game is still an open beta access, which means the developers are still working on the bugs that the game has, and is partly relying on the community's help in finding and reporting said bugs. And the game does have its bugs, which to me are the biggest cons of the game so far. Okay, there are instances of player disconnects after hunt completion, behemoths looking all twisted and shit because a part got stuck somewhere and the behemoth twisted its way out or something. And there are also sometimes some instances wherein the behemoths, they stop fighting. They just stay in the middle. Well, a free kill is a free kill. So, you know, those little nuances, and I'm pretty sure there are more bugs, but I just haven't encountered the others yet. But the good news is that the developers are trying to roll out updates as much as they can. In fact, today I had to update my game. Supposedly it fixed a couple of bugs. I'm not sure what, because I still haven't fired up the game anyway. And also, one of the gripes that I have, if you can call it a gripe, is the combat system of the game. As fluid as it feels and as nice as it feels, the combat is responsive. Especially if you're using your weapon, you can expect it to perform the way you're using your weapon. But the thing is, the combat is too rigid when it comes to its combos. You know, you really have to know the combo you're doing. Like for example, here in my sword, I'm doing a 4-click combo. If I need to time my attacks against the behemoth, and let's just say that I decide to just do the 2-click. On my 3rd click, I'm going to get animation lock, and if I'm dying or I have very little life left, the animation lock will cause me to just keep swinging my sword instead of dodging. I'm not going to be able to dodge during an animation lock, and it kind of, well, not necessarily ruins the fun, but I guess what the developers are trying to do is for players to avoid spam clicking with the game, turning it into a normal hack and slash wherein you just click away. Well, in this game, you're gonna have to be mindful of your clicks, especially once you get to the higher levels, where it will really rely on your skills to attack and to dodge. Now, for the fun parts of the game, of course, it's supposed to have its little hitches because it's in beta, but it's not all bad. Now, first good thing about the game is that it's now free to play. At its current state, all you need to do is register to Dauntless website at playdauntless.com. Use your email to register, download the client and installer, and that's it. You're good to go. And you can have a hell of a lot of fun immediately. Now, if you don't like the game, then you can simply uninstall it. Nothing lost, you didn't spend anything. Another good thing about the game is the graphics that they actually went for. It has a little bit of a cartoony look, so the art of the game diffuses the tension and, the stress of the encounters. At least that's how I feel about it. I don't take the game too seriously as I would if it had like hyper-realistic graphics, like maybe the artwork similar to PUBG, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. The artwork there, though it's gorgeous, it's just too serious. So when you start repeating your tasks, it really drains you, it stresses you out. Well, this is a cartoony game, so it doesn't have that much of a stress to it. And also, the good thing about this game is you have the option to play solo. You're not stuck with playing with other people to be able to enjoy it. You can actually play the game solo, as I have been doing as of late. You just need to practice a lot against certain types of monsters, master where your dodges need to happen, when you can attack, when you can move away and move close. You got that down, well, you're good to go. You can start farming things alone, which is actually the easiest way to farm, alone, because there's no HP scaling, nothing. None of those things are happening. It's just you versus the monster. It just needs a lot of practice and also a lot of patience. And another key to this game is patience when farming. You really have to be patient when you get to the higher levels of this game, because you will need to farm a lot. And especially with the way the aisles are rotating, one week this aisle is open and the other week, the next week, that aisle will probably be closed, replaced by a certain aisle. So you have like a week's window to farm for things that you will need for your gear. But like what I said, it's fun to do it alone. You don't lose anything when you're doing it. In fact, you can play it most likely easier when you're alone. Now, are you gonna be able to enjoy the game? Of course. But it actually, it will depend. If you're the type of person who goes into Dauntless with a kind of a Monster Hunter mindset, then the game will probably disappoint you. As a lot of the people I've spoken to over the past weeks have stated, this ain't no Monster Hunter, or I prefer Monster Hunter better. And I'll just wait for Monster Hunter World to come out for the PC and whatnot. They're missing the point of the game. It's not, you're not supposed to compare it directly with Monster Hunter. Rather, look at it from a different perspective. Monster Hunter, as epic as it'll be, is still in development and it's not even out. This game is. So if you feel the need to try something fun, try something new, well, give Dauntless a go. Who knows? You might even enjoy it. It's fun. Alright, anyway, that's it, guys. Thanks so much for listening or for watching the clip. If you like it, good. If you don't, well, I don't care. See you next time.